Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I will be reading from a subreddit. So let's jump into it. About a year ago, just a few days after my 27th birthday, I went to my grandmother's house for a small get-together. Around the dinner table sat my father, 67 male, a couple of my cousins, both around 35, the male and female, and me. My father, visibly drunk, began to pester my male cousin. I do not remember exactly what was said, but it escalated to the point where my cousin, a grown man, stood up and said, "If you keep bugging me, I am leaving," my father, refusing to back down. Shouted something along the lines of, "This is my house. And I do what I want." My cousin simply walked away. Then my father turned to me, looking for reassurance. "You agree with me, right?" he asked. I replied, "It may be your house, but you do not have to be unpleasant about it." His response would haunt me for a long time. "You only say that because you do not remember what he did to you. When you were little, he touched you." Let me stop right here and clarify, I was never abused. The word touched was a direct translation from Portuguese, where tucuvoca can also mean expelled you or kicked you out, but that was not my first interpretation nor, I assume, would it have been yours, for what felt like an eternity. My mind spiraled into the darkest depths imaginable. My entire reality shifted. I wholeheartedly believed that I had been abused as a child. In mere seconds, I questioned everything: how this would redefine my identity, how I would now be a victim. Even whether this somehow explained why I am gay despite knowing rationally that it would not. Panic took over, and I began to have an anxiety attack. Meanwhile, my father sat there, seemingly oblivious to the weight of what he had just said. Summoning the strength to speak, I asked, "He touched me when I was a kid." "Yes," he answered, as if it were nothing. Why was I never told? How can you just say that so casually? He brushed it off with drunken mutterings. "Yeah. He touched you." Realizing we were onto completely different pages, I tried to de-escalate. "Maybe we should have this conversation when you are sober, because we are not getting anywhere." That set him off. He launched into another rant about how he would not be disrespected in his own house. He still did not seem to grasp why I was breaking down, ugly crying in front of him. He accused me of taking my cousin's sorrows as my own, as if I were making a big deal over nothing. We went back and forth with no progress until, at some point, something clicked for him. He finally realized what I had understood him to mean. Immediately, he dismissed me. He scoffed and said something along the lines of, "Only a wimpy crybaby university commie would take what I said as abuse." This man made me believe, for 20 agonizing minutes, that I had lived through the worst trauma imaginable, and when he realized his mistake, his response was to mock me. At that point, I completely broke down, crying even harder, half in relief, half in disbelief at what had just happened. He stormed out of the house, leaving me shattered. We did not speak for almost a month. Then he broke the silence with a long, angry message telling me he was cutting me off financially and disowning me. I never replied. Over the past year, he has called me about 4 times. I have never answered. So I do not believe I can forgive someone who put me through that, and who, instead of taking responsibility for his words, turned it around on me and called me weak. However, my mother, 67 female, divorced with 0 contact with him, keeps pestering me to hear him out. This has caused several fights between us. Even if he were to apologize, I do not want to have anything to do with him. And besides, if he had something important to say, he could text. So am I the asshole for cutting my father completely out of my life over this?